Alright guys, we're here at the Graveface Museum. As you can see, I got caught in the rain here in Savannah, Georgia. And here we are at the museum. I'm going to be going inside in just a few moments. Checking this place out, man. So stay tuned. But I told you guys we're going to do some live stuff here. I'm going to tape some of the tour that I will be doing here. So like I said, don't mind me, I'm a little wet, and but I'm going to give you guys a little view of inside. But we will be going in short.
Friday, so we're open.
Here's a little bit of a look at the inside, but I'll be showing you guys some more, and we're going to get a little bit video of the tour as well. But we'll be back in a sec.
This first little part of the museum here is built to look like a roadside attraction, which was a pretty common thing you'd see in the 40s and 50s throughout the United States. But I'll go around and point a couple things out to sort of guide you and get you started, and then you'll be on your way to the rest of the museum. Sound good? I'll show you Clementine behind you there first, our 5-legged cow. And in the back corner we have some little 2-headed calves, below them a 2-headed piglet. And if you see these lambs, sweet lambs hugging each other, they're actually conjoined at the chest, if you couldn't tell. And back over here, this is our spider fawn, stillborn deer with 2 heads and 6 legs. Alright? And believe it or not, that would conclude all of the real animals in this room, except for the bear, of course. They're just born this way. The other creatures in here, most of those we call gaffs. And if you're not familiar, very popular in a roadside attraction, common to see. They're little handmade creatures made out of real animal or human parts. Over here is the Fiji mermaid, made with a real monkey and a fish. And with the red hair, right here, Homer Tate's fish girl. He actually got that hair from his wife, teeth from his cat, and the leg of a turtle. Right, he was a rather unique and creative guy. Would call him the king of gaffs here at the museum because in the 40s he was actually pretty well known. He would make a bunch of these little creatures and basically sell them to the roadside attractions, where the people at the roadside attraction would fool you into thinking you discovered a new species. That was kind of the whole point of gaffs, right? But I'll tell you something about him. Homer Tate in the late 40s started hanging out at the graveyard and digging up dead bodies. And if you couldn't imagine why, he was making his own shrunken heads, 2 of which are right here. The one in the middle, though, specifically we know for sure, is a genuine shrunken head, so real human remains, right? And I'm sure you all know it's frowned upon to steal dead bodies, right? So he didn't get away with this for very long until he was caught and arrested, and then he never made another shrunken head or gaff again. Alright, but I'll come in the corner and show you a couple more things. So, when the owners first came to this building and started putting the museum together, during the renovations, they actually discovered a couple hidden rooms in here. And this building is quite old, so it's not too out of the ordinary. However, there was actually some items hidden in those rooms. And the first thing they found, I'll shine my flashlight so you can see a little better, this orange record up here. If you can't see what's written on there, it says, chanting, speaking in tongues, and sermon. Right? And I've had the chance to listen to this a few times. If I can speak on it, it's a seriously terrifying record. It's no joke. It's not written on there for fun. Too fragile to play for every single group that comes in here, and this is the only copy that we know of because we found it here, right? And that's mainly why I'm showing it to you. Still a mystery today. Don't know who was here or what they were doing. But just like this record, we actually found a couple more things behind the wall. We just decided to leave those back there. Thought best not to move them. So this whole wall right here turned out to be a false wall. That's why we cut out this door. And if you want to take a look inside at some of the other artifacts we found, feel free to do so one at a time. See for yourself. And I can explain what's in there after getting a good look. Looks like a little shrine or something, right? All we know that to be back there was an altar for practicing hoodoo, right? And hoodoo has the same origins as voodoo, right? Slightly different. Historically, in Savannah, not uncommon. Believe it or not, actually, all this old wood that's on the walls in this room, you wouldn't think twice about it, was actually salvaged from an old Savannah hoodoo house. A little photograph behind me. It's just weird that that stuff was hidden back there and nobody left a trace of any written documents or anything like that. And Not sure what correlation it has with the record, just things that were found in this building. All right, but I'll leave you folks there at that. There's plenty more to see in this museum. Just across the hall, we opened up a brand new exhibit on Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan. Enjoy the rest of the museum, guys.
Thank you.
Just wanted to also get for you guys some of the pinball machines that they got here too in the game room while you're waiting for some of the tours. Some of the cool horror pinball machines, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Nightmare on Elm Street. Some cool stuff. Devil's Dare. Alright guys, check it out. We're just waiting to get in for our tour of the Ed Gein house. Right here, this is a guided tour, so I will be videoing for that as well. 2 floors of all the stuff that they found at the actual Ed Gein crime scene. So we'll be just waiting for our tour to start, and we'll be going in there, and I will be taping in there, guys. So stay tuned.
It'll also feature a mannequin that resembles Ed Gein's last murder victim before he was arrested. The mannequin is going to be naked and mutilated. If anyone feels uncomfortable, definitely just step outside. It won't hurt my feelings. I totally get it. This is not for everyone, and that's totally okay. Y'all can also head upstairs. Upstairs we'll have actual crime scene photos, including crime scene photos of the same victim. They are much less intense than full-size mannequin replica. Without further ado, y'all can head on in.
Will anything pop out of this?
Not a haunted house.
Okay, good. Very good. That's all I'm worried about.
If you wanted things to pop out, you should have been here the week before Halloween. And I would be hiding in that fridge wearing a little goblin mask.
Oh my god, no.
I'm going to point out some of the props we have. I will tell you how real or not real they are, or we're going to go from there. So first off, we got a lamp in that room. It looks like it's made of human skin. So that prop is going to be 100% Hollywood bullshit. Ed Gein never made any lamps. His house never even had electricity. There were a ton of lamps almost identical in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so it gets a little bit confusing. However, Ed Gein did make a wastebasket out of human skin, and an upside down lampshade looks pretty similar to a wastebasket. Maybe that's where that misconception came from. We also have a chair right there. Looks like it's made of human faces all stitched together. That prop is rooted in reality, but then ridiculously exaggerated. Ed Gein did make 2 chairs. His look nothing like that. We have some photos of his real chairs upstairs, and I'll point them out. We also have a panel of wall art against that wall. Looks like it has some nipples, vulvas, ears, and fingers stapled onto it. That is not real whatsoever. Ed Gein was never one to make art out of the things they found in his house. The police did find awful stuff though on the property, including a bunch of bone and bone fragments, various organs, a shoebox of 9 vulvas, multiple bowls made out of the top of human skulls, 2 face masks made of ladies' faces that have little pieces of string attached you can put them on and wear, and multiple corset belts that would go all the way up to the neck to include the women's breasts on them. Also on Ed Gein's property, they found the body of Bernice Gordon, who we have here represented by the mannequin. That was Ed Gein's second murder victim and his last overall victim before he was arrested in 1957. Bernice owned and ran a hardware store in the town while her son was the sheriff. Ed Gein went to that hardware store, he bought half a gallon of antifreeze, and Bernice even writes a sales slip and includes his name on it. So later on that day, her son, the sheriff, stops by, sees no one is working, so he investigates further. There's blood on the floor, the cash box is missing, and the sales slip with Ed Gein's name is on the counter. He gets the whole team together, they go straight to the farmhouse. Her son was not the one to find her body like that was someone else on the team. Regardless, it's still incredibly horrific. If it's any comfort to y'all, she did not feel this. Bernice died from a gunshot wound to the head in the hardware store. She died almost instantly and never had to see Ed Gein's property. How we have the mannequin displayed is fairly accurate to how Bernice was found. The biggest exception being, in reality, Bernice was split to the genitals of the sternum and disemboweled. Police report described Bernice as being dressed up like a deer. I'm going to give y'all a second downstairs, make sure everyone gets a chance to look at the props I was describing. Whenever y'all ready, head up those stairs. When I get all of y'all up there, I'm going to talk to y'all about some more factual aspects of the Ed Gein case.
You think you would like taking the slip off the counter when like
I'm sorry?
like you think you would have taken the slip off the counter when you left the arm?
Right? Yeah, it was like her sales book kind of thing, like a carbon copy type of thing.
Yeah.
Is this a replica of Augusta?
That's the outlaw ambiance in here. It actually look like her.
Shoebox, dude.
Thumbs up.
Some portrait parts of this room, and then y'all will get some time to look around and ask me any kind of questions y'all can think of. To start off, I got some images right here for y'all to come up and take a little peek at. Alright, so if y'all went online and looked at anything like Ed Gein crimes or Ed Gein evidence, those are the kind of things y'all will see. All of that's fake. So as we all know by now, there is no such thing as the Ed Gein lamp. There's also no such thing as the Ed Gein nipple belt. The only thing out of those images that are loosely based around reality will be that bowl right there. Even that's quite theatrical and silly, just because that's not how skulls work. If you put anything in that bowl, it would fall through. All these images, though, are being presented online as if they are real, which makes it pretty difficult to know what's true or false about the case. And the fact that all the evidence from Ed Gein's crimes, as well as photos of evidence, have since been destroyed, doesn't really help us out either. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Before I talk about that, I will talk about these two guys right here. Joe and Alan Wilimovsky. Those were two brothers as well as prosecutors for the Ed Gein case. Joe is the lead prosecutor as well as the polygraph specialist. So Joe was the man conducting all these interviews with Ed Gein. He was the one who ultimately got the confessions out of Ed Gein. His younger brother Alan was a ballistic specialist over at the Wisconsin State Crime Lab. So Alan was originally brought onto this case because Bernice Warden died from a gunshot wound. Alan was also part of the team of men that were selected to go exhume 3 of the 9 graves Ed confessed to robbing. Of course, you gotta prove it's true when someone just starts confessing to crimes, but it was also pretty widely speculated this would not be possible for one guy to do all by himself. Alan helped prove yes, one guy can do it solo. Alan even went as far as to say it is so much easier to do than you would think. A couple of factors we gotta consider. So first of all, those are the kind of coffins they had at that time period. As you can see, that it was so much smaller and lighter than modern coffins today. Also, whenever Ed Gein was grave robbing, most times he was taking bits and pieces of bodies. It was a little less common to take a full-size body victim while grave robbing. This right here is an original crime scene photo of all the bagged up evidence that was taken from Ed Gein's home. And there in the corner are the chairs I was telling you about downstairs. As you can see, those are some pretty normal looking chairs. One of the more odd aspects of this case is Ed Gein never went to court over grave robbing. They only brought Ed Gein to court over the murder of Bernice Warden. A couple reasons for that decision. So first of all, obviously Ed Gein would be found guilty of murdering Bernice. No way he was getting out of that charge. And while there is no death penalty in Wisconsin, he would still get put away for life in prison. So that's the max sentence. There is just no point in putting all the grave robbing victims' families through the unnecessary trauma that a years and years long case would be, but the maximum sentence has already been given to Ed Gein. Also, all that stuff you're seeing, those police did not have a warrant to take any of that stuff. They don't have a search warrant period, but police don't need a warrant to enter someone's home if it's a matter of life or death, which it was because they were hoping to find Bernice alive. She was missing less than a day after all. Police do need a warrant though if they're going to take bagfuls of stuff off of someone's property. Because of that, they made the decision to cremate all of that illegally obtained evidence as well as photos of evidence to preserve the dignity of the victims. That would never happen today, but you got to keep in mind, they did not have DNA testing in the 50s. They could not return those body parts to the Popper family. They did what they felt was morally right given their circumstances. That stuff wasn't the only stuff burnt down though pertaining to the Ed Gein case. So on this TV back there, all that colored footage you'll be seeing is footage taken by a reporter the morning after someone came by and caught the farmhouse on fire. After Ed Gein was arrested, they put up his property up for an auction. The night before the auction was scheduled, some townsfolk came over and committed some arson. No one ever got charged with arson though. Everyone in the town, including the police, were very much on the same page, and that page was Ed Gein's a bad guy and a bad look for our town. Anyone who lived there did not want that house to become kind of a morbid tourist attraction, which would inevitably happen. That's just human nature. Because the house is gone and all that evidence, that makes that piece in the lit up shadow box against the wall the last piece of human remains creation by Ed Gein that still exists. But what we're looking at is a lock of hair that's been attached to a keychain. That lock of hair came from someone after they died. We know this because there's still quite a bit of scalp fragments attached to that hair. That did not belong to either of Ed Gein's murder victims, Mary Hogan or Bernice Warden, because they both had much shorter hair when they were murdered. Also, Bernice's hair was very gray when she was murdered. That hair could potentially belong to any of Ed Gein's other grave robbing victims. They looked pretty similar to each other because they all greatly resembled Ed Gein's mother. Ed Gein was going through the obituaries in the newspaper, and that is how he was finding and targeting women who resembled his mom. So growing up, Ed Gein was heavily abused by both parents, but the abuse by his mother definitely left more of a psychological impact on him. She would dress him up as a girl, referred to him by a girl's name, and would make it very transparent how she wished she was born a girl instead. And that definitely instilled deep gender dysphoria at a really young age in Ed Gein. Also, his father, brother, mother all passed away within 5 years, and that would be incredibly traumatic for anyone to experience. But in 1945, after Ed Gein's mother passed away, that's when he started to do all of this. Ed Gein never went to prison. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia, they deemed Ed Gein insane, and they sent him to a mental institution where he died of natural causes in 1984. However, it's pretty widely speculated Ed Gein was not schizophrenic. That was very much a heavy-handed diagnosis given out in the 50s to anyone who's loosely crazy. We've come a lot further than that as far as psychology goes. Ed Gein did know what he was doing was wrong. He even brings it up in the transcripts in between him and Joel Mowski, how he knew what he was doing was wrong. He just felt the need to keep compulsively doing it anyways. So justice was maybe not served with this case. Can you all think of any questions you want to ask right off the bat? Alright, y'all. Look around the room. Anything, take any photos you want as well. Whenever you've gotten your fill of the Ed Gein exhibit, don't feel trapped. Y'all can leave whatever you wish. But if y'all think of any kind of question at all, definitely ask me. I got a lot more knowledge I can't fit into like a 20-minute speech. Thank you. You're welcome.
All right, guys, we did it, and that was it. That was the Graveface Museum. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna upload these videos. My battery was dying, so I didn't get videos of every little part and piece, but I got some great pictures too. Don't mind the hair. It was like 1,000,000 degrees in there, so I'm kind of sweaty and hot and done with this Savannah, Georgia heat. So yeah, this is what I look like after a lot of sweat. So, but I hope you guys enjoy the videos, and I will upload those as soon as I can. But I got some cool swag too from the Graveface Museum that I will be showing you guys too. So thanks again, guys, and we'll be hitting the horror convention next. All right, man, take care and stay scary, guys. Later.